Share my screen. Okay, so like she said, I'm Shelly Stevens. I have been here since 2019. I was one of the, I've been here a while. So excited to go over vendor and trade shows today. So that's what I'm going to be training on. Yes, I'm a gold agent. I'm a two-time IATAN card holder. One of the trainers. I like to stay involved. My prior life, I was in HR, so part of that passion was training. And so this gives me an opportunity to mentor and help others, get better with their job. So, like everybody said, we're going to keep the questions for later, so definitely write them down. When it comes to trade shows, um, they're not as simple as we think. So, think about things that we can benefit for this. It increases our brand. It gives us that organic, around town clientele, but it also generates those leads and attracts those clients because you're building, that brand within your community, and you're building those relationships with local vendors, other business owners, that kind of thing. But it also showcases your expertise within the industry. But it gives you also um, networking of other professionals in either other industries or travel industries. So I saw 2 days ago, we talked about some training with small businesses. This is a great way to start networking with those people. So think about when you're gonna, if you're thinking about doing a trade show or a fair or a bridal show, what's in it for me? Okay. So some of these things that I want you guys to consider are, when you're looking at those shows, is I want you to consider your goals. Set clear goals. What am I going to get from this? And we're going to go into it a little bit deeper. You want to select the right kind of show. You want to, get your booth registration in, and make sure you have all that promotional material, staffing, and training. You want to be that expert. So let's talk about some of these goals. So when it's goals, why am I doing this? Well, it's to get those leads. So how am I going to gather those leads? What is my, what information do I need for this different show? I also want to make a strong appearance in that showcase. So make sure that you're an expert at that niche that you are going to be providing. Also, make a memorable booth design, and we're going to go over that in a minute. Signage, materials, things like that. And then make sure you think about networking and those partnerships when you're within, those fairs. Those are the goals. Is I'm going to go meet, you know, 5 photographers or something like that, because you never know when you're going to be able to refer. I have, my people that I will refer to, like photographers, florists, for dress alterations, things like that, you know, but they also refer back to me. And then make sure that before these fairs, you do some research. What's the newest trend? What is that you can give insight to for that fair? The other thing is to consider, again, that right bridal show. Look at their reputation, look at their attendance. Now, just because they have 4,000 people showing up, that doesn't necessarily mean that's the best fair for you to go to. But if they only have 50 people coming, it may be. So you have to look at what it has to offer and what those, you know, what it's going to yield for you with your goals for this fair. Also look at the reviews, not only from other vendors, but from the people that have gone to these fairs. Now, the reason you want to do this is some of these fairs can be very expensive. The lowest that I've spent is $50. The highest that I've spent is $2,000, and they go up from there. So it can be crazy expensive. So make sure when you're considering these shows, take that into consideration. If you've got a $2,000 plus show, what is it going to take for you to get that back in return, for commissions and things like that? You also want to think about location and timing. So, for a bridal show, you want to make sure it's right within those times of when they're getting engaged, those types of things. If you're going to do a fair, it may be, during the summer, you're going to start wanting to, talk about all the Christmas holidays and all of those Christmas village, cruises or whatever the kind will be. So take that into consideration when you're looking for things like that. When you're making those booth in check, reserving that booth, the earlier that you get within this fair, the better location that you can get, and get that prime location. Those high entrance areas, those corners, those more traffic visibility. And if this is your first show, talk to the vendor that's putting it on, because they can help you put you into, you know, a place where you're going to get that foot traffic. Being in the very back in a corner may not be that most ideal place. So you definitely want to talk to them about that. But also doing those early bird specials, I've gotten $200 off. I have gotten multiple discounts because I've done, more fairs with them. You can also, get them for, making payments. So instead of coming up with $2,000 right off the bat, if you do it well in advance, you can kind of make payments towards that. But the more time you have, the more planning that you have to be successful, within this fair. So some of the questions when you're considering these fairs is, what is the total participants that have signed up for this show? What's the, this last year, what was their, who actually showed? If you had, 8,000 people sign up, but how many actually came through the door? Okay. Talk to them about that. Ask them how many travel agents have signed up to also be a vendor. So the reason that I say this is because you want to make sure it's not, it's not over inundated with travel agents. Again, we're going to showcase us, but if you have a venue that's only going to give you maybe 50 brides and you have 5 travel agents, it's not a show that I would do, because there's too many. They're going to get even more overwhelmed. The other thing that I would ask is, are there any timeshare or vendors? Hyatt has just gotten into the all-inclusive market. So you see them a lot at these trade fairs now. Carnival Cruise Lines are getting into these markets. So you're starting to see some of these big places like that. So if you're right next door to them, you want to make sure you're far away. Or if there's a whole lot of these types of vendors, it may not be the right show. The other question is, you want to receive a list that everybody signed up with. Okay. So if you've got you have 4,000, 8,000 people that have signed up after this show, are you going to get that list? Okay. Everybody's heard, or if you haven't heard, the money is in the list. The other thing is, ask them if they are going to give you a list of any of the vendors that are participating within the show. this helps you network. It was really nice meeting you, Christine. I saw that you were there. If there's anything I can do, or if you have any clients, please send them to me, vice versa. And it just gives that follow up with them as well. So the other thing is that promotional material. Think about things that you need to put in your booth. You can get free collateral from vendors. You can make your own flyers. Showcase that niche. Put those specials out. Showcase what you have to offer. So you want to put more out that's going to showcase you in your niche than, a whole table of Carnival Cruise Line. Okay. What are those things? But make sure that you have your business cards, you have those things that are there, signage, things like that. Do you need to have somebody with you at the booth? Absolutely. If you can bring somebody there, you need to have a bio break, right? You need to have time to go and network with some of the other vendors, or at least go walk around to see what their booths look like. There may be peak times where, you're going to need that extra help, so that they can talk to clients. You're not missing people. But if you don't book that show in advance, are you going to have time to train somebody to help? My first show, I brought another agent with me. And so it was good. Then I brought family or friends with me for other ones. So I gave them that elevator speech. I gave them those taglines. And when there was bigger questions, they came to me and got me. But it was definitely there. I had my computer there. I was able to make appointments and things like that. The other thing you want to make sure is you are going to be that expert. So why do you need training on those niches? Well, because you're the expert. You need to make sure that the information that you're giving is correct. So let me give you an example. On my last bridal show, I was doing a little bit of showcasing on sandals and the beaches. I love them for their bridal, destination weddings. So I had that out. Somebody came up to me and said, "Oh yeah, I'm really in love with sandals. They give you free weddings and yada, yada, yada." They don't do that anymore. That package is gone. And so I had to go in and counterdict everything that this other agent talked about, but it made me look bad because she was giving the wrong information. I had to make sure, which I did, is I had the information. Not only was I telling them, I was handing them the same information. So then that gave me the credibility that I was right, while trying not to say, "Nah, she gave you really bad information." So do I need that training? Yes, you do need those trainings on your niche. So if it's ocean cruises, make sure you understand the differences between the different cruise lines. If it's the all-inclusives, talk about that too, because even though they're all-inclusive, there's differences, and where can you get those? Well, you get them from the vendors. You go and find them, and there's a lot out there. So the booth setup, each booth that I have done, and I've done quite a bit, has been completely different. So this is one that I did here in California. I'm in California. I had a table of just cruises. Then I had the all-inclusives and all kinds of things, but I also had a wheel for bringing them in and giving them raffle tickets, things like that, because I wanted to find a way to get them in my booth. Back here, I think there's even a picture somewhere of Charles inside my frame. This is a frame that they could do a selfie wall on the back and hashtag my business to Instagram and get an extra raffle ticket. So these are things that I have in my booth for this bridal show. And then I had some signage. But I also have done fairs, which are so much fun. However, they're very long. So you definitely want to make sure you've got help. And again, it's a little bit different because you're on a street fair, you're doing stuff. I had, not only was I promoting everything travel, right? I had giveaways where if you booked right then and there and put a deposit on a vacation, I gave them a discount. I gave them, different perks. I also, did, looking for a new job, or a new thing, was promoting that too. Might not be something I want to promote at a bridal show. Okay. So each one's a little bit different. There's also community events. Believe it or not, this was a booth setup for me. Now, do you see any, promotional material? There wasn't, but with every goodie bag that I gave out that night, which I had this last one, I had over 200 kids come up to my car. Every one of those had my business card in it. So simple, I'm giving back to the community with being in the trunk or treat. But I'm also telling all of my neighbors, guess what? I'm your local travel agent. Please use me. I've gotten clients both Halloweens for the travel agent. Plus, I had people, like, city councilmen and stuff like that come over, which I handed them my card while I was there. So even doing small community events like this, you can make a difference. It's a fair. So when you're doing this, make sure, and I'm actually going to, you guys will get it tonight, make yourself a checklist for your booth. So I'm going to, as I go through this, I'm going to kind of give you some why I do this. So think about your booth display. When you're checking into going into the fairs, most fairs won't supply tables or tablecloths or chairs or anything like that. Some will provide it for you at a cost, but those folding tables are a whole lot cheaper going to Home Depot or Amazon or someplace like that. So look at that. Decorations for the booth, think about that. Make it attractive. You want it appealing, but you also want it to align with your business. So, think about those color schemes. Think about what your niche is. There was one of the shows that I did, there was another travel agent that was there, and all she did was cruises. So her booth was full of beach balls and pool floats and things like that because it appealed to her brand. Make sure you also have a backdrop or a banner showcasing your industry name, get your logo, what you have to offer, because a lot of people don't realize travel agents are here. We've always been here. We're not going anywhere. Tablecloths, you want to make sure that you've got them. You want to make sure you have all of your brochures and flyers. You want your business cards and make sure that they're handy. I have them all over my table in different piles, but I also have them in a pocket.
Did you move the thing?
I'm sorry?
Babe.
Okay. And then think about those promotional items, those giveaways. Think of those kind of things. Then you want to think of technology. I always bring my laptop, but do you want to have a TV with videos going, anything like that? And again, you want to think about, well, if I bring my laptop or I bring something to showcase videos, I'm going to need power. So what is that going to cost me, right? You got to think about these things so you can budget into that rate of return. But there's power strips and chargers and things like that to ensure that your laptop will stay going, your phone will get going. Again, those Wi-Fi hotspots, you can get them on your phone, and or you can get one from your phone company. But sometimes the venue has it. But again, Some of these venues will charge you for that internet connection, and sometimes even when you're paying for it, it's unreliable. So think about those backups upon backups. And then you want to think about those lead generation. Okay, so if you don't have a system, spreadsheets are the bomb. Use those, but keep it on your spreadsheet. Make sure you have a pen and a notebook, because you're going to write down, that, Krista came to the booth and she's interested in going to, Japan, and in this month. So when you follow up with her, you're going to be sending her Japan stuff, not Mexico stuff. Make those notes. So again, you need marketing material for, I have videos, I have slideshows, posters, all kinds of different things that I bring depending on the show that I'm doing. You also want to bring comfortable, shoes. I have done shows in high heels. Not fun. I've done them, still do them, but if you have shorter, flats, something like that, definitely get them. The other thing is you want to stay hydrated. You want those energy snacks, anything like that, because even if it's a show that's from noon till 5 or 6 o'clock, you are talking to hundreds of people. And after that first hour, your throat's done. So make sure you stay hydrated, have that fan, do something that's going to keep you energized throughout the event. So the other thing is also that processing payments. We go back to our laptop. Make sure that you have your chargers for your laptops or tablets, also for your phones or anything like that. If you process those service agreements, like with Evo Plus, things like that, you're gonna get, this list. So storage containers. This is probably one of the most important things that I can say. Get storage containers. Get them and don't get cheap ones. Get the ones that are sturdy. They stack because they're easy to throw in your garage, whatever. But when you get this stuff from the vendors, they come in these stupid, I'm just going to say it, stupid boxes that the minute that you open them, close them, they fall apart, they disintegrate. The very first show that I did, I had this on a dolly, and I had one box that just disintegrated on the dolly, and I was so exhausted. I couldn't have cared to pick up all of these flyers. I did, but think about hundreds of flyers flying all over the place and trying to get them. You put them into your storage container. These are all Carnival, or cruises, this is all dreams and secrets, whatever, and you have it all organized. You're not going to have that issue. The other thing is, if you have to fill up your table, you're going to be able to grab that container, grab your stuff, put it onto the table. Your toolkit, make sure you have basic stuff like a screwdriver, duct tape, zip ties, any of those safety pins, any of those kind of things that you can think of for that. What I also bring is all of my contracts with me for that show, any invoices, any necessary paperwork that I may need to show that, yeah, I'm a vendor here. The other thing is an emergency kit, okay? Just a simple first aid kit. You'd be surprised at how many paper cuts you can get, or whatever. Put some Tylenol in there. Those kind of things is going to help you. I actually put hand sanitizers on the table too, just so people can hand sanitize, just, to give that added stuff. So when you're thinking about your booth and how are you going to get something in, one of the questions is, should I give something away? Should I do that? So it's a really great question. And the answer is maybe. So yes, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I have found that bridal shows, they're looking for freebies. Okay. So I tend to just put candy out or something like that, or give them a discount on my fee. I'm not raffling anything. At the fair, I do a little bit more. So each one that you do, think about again that, you know, what am I trying to accomplish here if I put a raffle in? Most of the time when I do raffles or I do anything like that, it's to gain their signatures, things like that. So, think about those things as you're deciding if you're going to put money into a gift basket or discounts or anything like that. The most important thing at a travel show is have fun, show your personality. Don't sit in a chair behind the booth looking at your phone or your laptop. Talk to them as they're walking by. Do you have your summer vacation, planned? Or did you have your wedding date yet? Are you going to do it locally, or you have a destination wedding? How about a honeymoon? Or, all of the different questions that we can ask as people are walking in or past your booth. But show your personality. If they are just, they just smile and wave, let them go on, but continue just to have that personal. If you're sitting in a chair looking at your laptop or something, they're not going to stop. They're not going to ask you questions. They're going to keep on going to the next person. So make sure that you have that. The most important, besides everything else, and this is some of the things that I've heard over the last couple of months, is what happens when the show's over. It's not over. Okay. You want to review all of your leads. Make sure you follow up with a phone call for those hot leads, those ones that, you have maybe made consultation calls, appointments for, just to double check. Email everyone that has stopped by your booth to say thank you, because you've gathered all these leads, right? You've gathered their phone numbers, their email addresses. Make sure that you've done that. But when you're there, also make sure that you've taken a picture of yourself within the booth. So when you're emailing them, they remember who you are. This is kind of hard to see, but this is my email that comes out. It just kind of talks about, it's nice that you came by. I talk about, which booth, in which fair it is. I kind of give them that, think about, this a laid back, beautiful dream wedding or whatever the case may be. I give them an area that they can do a consultation, but I put a picture of the booth so that they remember who I was, because bridal shows or big fairs can be super, super overwhelming for anyone that's walking through, because you're looking at, who knows how many booths, they can get up to 300 vendors. So they're not going to remember little O'Shelley, that of, 300 booths, or they see my business card and go, who in the world is this? Get a picture. Pictures are 1,000 words. You also want to send, you also, when the vendor emails you that list, what are you going to do with it? Set up an email campaign. Send them postcards or flyers in the mail, because that list normally has what they're looking for, their name, their address, phone numbers, all of that. Send them a postcard, send them a flyer, set up an email campaign, something that, is going to attract that expertise and showcase you over other people. It's said you want to, touch these people, reach out to these people at least 7 to 10 times before, they become clients. And then also look at the rules, because sometimes the rules of emailing says you can only do 2 emails a month. So don't be spamming them every day on emails. And then once it's over, review it. Kind of sit down and think about what went well and what didn't go well. What would you change, if anything? Because you see, and even in my bridal booths I have on my Facebook page, every booth that I do, there's something different, and I'm changing things up because you want to find, that special thing for yourself. So think about those things, make notes, because the next year when you're going, oh yeah, that bridal show in Phoenix was really great, blah blah blah, you can come back and go, yeah, no, it really wasn't. It wasn't worth, you know. So make notes, put in there what if you had any bookings from that show, so you can see. Send the feedback back to the show vendor. Okay, special, whether it went well or didn't, thank them, because they're going to remember you for the next year, especially if it went well, to give you that prime spot. Become friends. It's, they're salesmen too. They're trying to get you into these booths. You start that relationship again, it's going to help you with those discounts and things like that, or that prime location. So again, thank you for joining. Before I'm going to, you're going to get, I'm going to send you the checklist. I'm going to send you the sign-up sheets that I use. I didn't change them on the top, so you're going to actually see what they were in Canva, before I changed them. So if you wanted to go back and find that exact Canva, to change them, you can. If not, use mine and just take out my logo. But you'll see one for fairs and one for bridal shows. And if you have any questions whatsoever, please don't hesitate to reach out, send me a text, DM, I'm in the chats. And just remember, these can be huge, the benefits of your business, because, you're getting out into your community, and that's what they like. They have that person to see. And then most important, just have a whole lot of fun. Okay. So with that, I think for me, I get to send it back to my very, very good friend, Amy,